kind of watched you kind of start like online, and then I kind of seen what you've done and how you've been stepping it up, some of the red carpet stuff that you've done.
Oh, cheers, man. Yeah,
So yeah, no, it's been really cool
yeah.
seeing your growth as well.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. It takes a lot of hard work, doesn't it, to get to where we
Yeah,
sort of want to be, and there's still always progress, isn't there,
it
to
is a
achieve stuff.
graft. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, how did the acting start for you? Like, how did it become voice acting? What was the process like for you and backstory of it?
Man, the whole thing was accidental, really. How I got into acting, accidental. How I got into voiceovers, also accidental. um, but yeah, I think the acting one was actually kind of funny because I lost a bet with a mate of mine. This is like when we were in like secondary school. I was in naval school, and one of like my oldest friends was he was big into acting, and he was literally badgering me for like 2 times, telling me, "Look, you got to get into this drama club. You got to do this. You got to do that." I was like, "No, I'm not doing it." And then we had a football bet, lost the bet, and then obviously I upheld my end of the bargain, and then I kind of fell in love with acting through there. I mean, there was still some things I did afterwards. I didn't like go straight into drama school afterwards. I kind of took a little bit of a pivot, but yeah, that was kind of the initial kind of introduction that kind of made me think, oh, okay, I think maybe this could work.
Yeah, yeah.
Voiceovers was the same thing as well. Like I was doing a show with David Tennant on the West End, and yeah, I think one of the agents, voiceover agents, had come in to see that show, and they were just like, "Who's that guy on stage?" And yeah, I
Mm.
literally got a DM on my Instagram. I think the next day came in for a meeting, and yeah, ever since then I've been associated with that
Yeah.
voiceover agency. So
Were you looking more for like TV work or voice acting work, like, or did it just sort of come at once for you and you're happy to do all of it?
yeah,
Yeah.
you know what? Yeah, it's kind of I'm kind of in a bit of a free flow. I think there's a lot of stuff that comes through voiceover wise, which just works for me. And the TV stuff as well. So like I didn't consciously decide that I was gonna do one or the other. It's just kind of if and when. And I mean the voiceover stuff is actually it's pretty flexible now. I've been doing it a long time, so people kind of know what
Yeah.
I'm good at, what I prefer to do. So yeah, it's a lot more easier to manage these days.
Yeah, yeah. No, of course. I mean, your work is great, like I said earlier. I mean, I feel like you've had quite a lot of unique characters to play on TV and in games, so it's quite cool to see what you're doing actually. Uh,
Yeah, I mean it's you know what, it's one of those things. Like I was always told in drama school that you never want to get typecast and stuff like that, and I honestly thought I was gonna be the first one to get typecast. But it has been amazing, just the journey and the opportunities that I've been given to kind of really show my range and
mm,
and yeah, I always surprise people, which is good.
yeah.
So yeah, it's always been interesting.
Did you ever expect to be in video games like Dead Island or Cyberpunk? Because they're pretty big deals. Like it doesn't matter
Yeah,
what the role is about. It's like it's the titles itself, isn't it?
yeah. I mean, I've always wanted to do video games, but it was one of those situations where it's like, well, yeah, it would be great if it happened, but it was never something I knew was gonna happen or something that was, again, it was kind of like a happy accident,
Mm,
falling into video games.
yeah, yeah.
And now doing them, being known for doing them, it's great. And video games is a lot of fun. It is
Mm.
a lot of fun. I do enjoy them.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, do you enjoy the process more for video games? Like, I know you said it was a happy sort of accident, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, what's the process as well?
You know what? It really depends. It really depends on the kind of characters that you get. Like it's so interchangeable depending on the characters that you're playing. They all have different requirements and different demands. And it's really yeah, it's not really the same.
Mm,
Each process is a little bit different. It's great, I think, when everybody kind of gets together because a lot of the times you don't know who you're working with. Like, I didn't know I was working with Keanu Reeves until I was
yeah,
like maybe 3, 4 months into
Mm.
the job,
Okay.
because they keep everything quite like tightly knit, and
Yeah.
they're very very precious with what they release forward and stuff like that. So yeah, that was interesting.
Mm.
But yeah, you never really know. You never really know, which is actually quite exciting
Mm.
because when you do, I guess, go to like a kind of like a post-show get together, or like a launch date get together, you kind of get to see people and be like, oh, okay, I worked with you,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you kind of like join the dots. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's always, I guess, like the fun part of
Yeah.
the job.
No, I mean, you portrayed, is it Weyland in Cyberpunk? Is that how you
Yeah,
pronounce his name?
yeah.
What was that? What was that sort of like? Because you said it took 2 or 3 months, or so to get the sort of job sort of done. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting one. Like, I originally had a job on the video game. I was just doing like additional voices. So I'd actually worked on the game for about a year up until this
Mm.
point. And then they came through with this character, and they were like, well, we kind of want you to play this character this way. I initially turned it down, and the reason why I did that, I didn't know who the
Yeah.
character
Yeah.
was or anything like that, but the reason why I did that was, you know, for me personally, right, I have like an accent list on my CV, and obviously West Indian isn't on there. So like for me to kind of do an accent, any accent that I've got on my CV basically is one that I could do at any time, any day, like any condition, doesn't matter.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
put me in there, I'll get it done. So when there's an accent that's on there that like I don't typically do, that hasn't been done, at a frequent level or professional level, I I'm kind of like, maybe not. But the studio was actually quite adamant that I do it, and so they said, no, trust me. Like, look, you're gonna want to do it. Just do it. And they sent me some clips to look at, and yeah, man, it was really a great experience. They didn't really. I mean, it's a Canadian game company, right? So they didn't really know a lot of the language of patois and stuff like that.
Okay.
So that was kind of where I kind of gave kind of my insights to what the character was. So I got a lot of freedom, and we got to like chop and change a lot of the dialogue, and yeah, it was a real like collaborative experience, and the guys were really good. Project Red, they
Yeah.
were amazing.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure. I mean, the character's accent was quite strong to actually. I mean, it's quite strong to listen to as well, isn't it?
yeah,
It's quite an out there sort of accent,
and
compared
that's
to
that's
seeing your
credit to the
CV. To be fair, like what you said.
yeah.
Yeah.
They gave me a lot. They gave me a lot to play with, and they were literally just like, "Look, we want you to do what you do,
Mm.
basically, and you can take the lead. And at this section, we'll kind of give the reins to you, and you can kind of do what you want to do with it, play around with it."
Mm.
And they had that trust in me, man, which you don't always get,
Yeah.
So
Oh,
no, it
that's
was
good.
great. It
They
was
gave you
great to
sort
have
of
that.
room for the character, basically, then, to sort of
Yeah,
maneuver things around a bit. That's
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's pretty good. Because was there an original accent that they wanted you to put across, like compared to what's on the game now, if you know what I mean? Did you change it around a bit to what they originally asked for, like what you were
Um,
saying?
No, no, I kind of did what was prescribed, but it was more like the kind of slang and the colloquial tendencies.
Mm.
That was kind of like a little bit out of place, you know what I mean? So like I made different suggestions at different bits. I didn't stray too far from the source material. I
Mm.
wanted to kind of have that like happy medium and kind of produce what they were asking me to produce. It was just again some of the terminology is like on a Jamaican ear, it wouldn't sound authentic.
Yeah, yeah.
So I just changed little bits, made slight adjustments.
Mm. Yeah,
But yeah, I didn't stray too far from the source material.
that's cool. No, it's good. Did you ever record any lines that sort of didn't make it into the game? Was there a lot of lines behind the scenes that you had to record?
Man, you know what? I did it so long ago.
Yeah, it wasn't.
There
It
must
is.
be a couple. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
it
I
still
think I
feels
think there
like
was
today that
definitely a
it's
couple.
released.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a couple. There's a couple that I was surprised made it in as well.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Um, yeah. I think there was one. Again, I was like, how do I make this one work? I think when he says "Sweet Holy Christmas" or something like that,
Mm,
right? That one made it in.
mm,
I
okay.
wasn't sure that one would make it in,
Why is
but
that like specifically? Is it something you didn't want in there, or was it? Um,
no, you know what? It was just something that I'd never heard a Jamaican say, but I was just like, I was like, okay, cool. Let's see. Let's just give this one a shot. Let's
yeah.
see. Let's see how it sounds. I liked it.
Mm,
But I was like, I don't know if they're gonna put that one in
mm,
there. But they did. They did.
yeah. So would you say you're sort of quite selective with the roles that you choose then for your work? Because like you said this you were going to turn this one down. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So would you say you're
Um.
quite selective, or
Yeah. You know what? For me, it's about. For me, it's purely about can I do the job well? Can I do the job well enough? Because you're putting your name against something, people are gonna look at that, then look at you, and people are gonna have opinions and make judgments on it,
mm,
and that's kind of the business that you're in.
mm,
You're only as good as your last performance, and that's just one of those things, and you want to make sure that you are doing your absolute best, and if there is anything that you feel that, hey, you know what, this isn't right for me, but like another person could do it,
mm,
then I've always been like that.
mm,
Obviously there's some jobs you can't, but like I think on I always try to kind of go into a job with that kind of mindset.
yeah,
Can I do this job, and can I do this? Can I really, really do this well? And it doesn't matter if it's voiceovers, TV, it's the same
yeah,
thing.
yeah. I mean, you also voiced Ezekiel in Dead Island as well. I
Yeah.
mean, I know that it was a few years ago as well, but was that a similar viewpoint on his character as well? Or was he
Yeah.
something you were all for and wanted to go for it? Um,
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, with Ezekiel, like, again, with I think the accent, they wanted something a little more specific. And I love a challenge, man.
yeah,
But yeah, I think the opportunity to be in a game like Dead Island, yeah, man, it just wasn't one I could really realistically turn down. I thought, you know
yeah,
what, I gotta go for it. And yeah, man, it was great. It was really yeah, it was quite widely received. I wasn't really because he's just a guy that you buy weapons off of and stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
But it was a
trader.
great role.
Mm.
I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun on that one.
Yeah, no, of course. But I still feel like even though he was sort of just a trader and a guy you buy weapons of, he's still an important aspect to the game.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's the thing, they wanted someone with a little bit of a vibe, someone who was kind of just, kind of cool, calm, and they wanted someone with a nice little kind of personality. And like, I thought that was, it's a nice little touch to the game.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what would you have liked for Ezekiel as a character, do you think? Like, how do you think you could have sort of expanded his story in the game?
Oh man, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, it would have been cool to see him. I don't know, maybe fight a couple of zombies, maybe defend his trader shop. I don't know.
Yeah,
Um, but no, I think I think for what he was and what he did, he was he was a nice addition, man. He was a nice addition to the whole story,
mm,
and I think yeah, it was crazy. How widely received he was.
yeah,
Still get emails and I still get like a lot of messages online about it, even today. But yeah, a lot of people like the character.
yeah,
So
yeah. Characters are loved. You should,
mm.
yeah, it's good. What do you think makes Wayland or Ezekiel an interesting character to the game? Because I know they're sort of old titles as well. It's just what I love talking about is video games. So
Yeah.
yeah,
No, you know what? It is. I think it's about having people that you can relate to. I think I always try to make these characters relatable to the common man or woman, to that respect. I try to find a level of grounding to the character that people can recognize in themselves,
mm,
and yeah, I'll start from there, and I try to make it as authentic. For Wayland, it was just like, well, I kind of if he's they've asked for a West Indian Jamaican man, so there's gonna have to be things I put in that only West Indian Jamaican people
Yeah.
will hear and will know instantly,
Mm.
you know. And with Ezekiel, it was more of kind of like a West kind of LA kind of sound, and I think I wanted people to kind of see Ezekiel and kind of see that side, you know what I mean, and see that kind of laid back Californian style.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I try and find something within the character that makes that character relatable to the
Yeah.
person playing, and that's as easy. That for me is kind of what the job is, Um, it would be way, way difficult to be honest if I was playing like I don't know a superhero like Superman or something like that because it's
Mm.
it's it's, it's very, very difficult to kind of find like the commonality. So
Yeah.
I've been very, very lucky with the characters that I've been given.
Yeah.
I've kind of found nuances within the text and I've been able to kind of
Mm.
put that on screen relatively well. So.
And it's all growth though as well, isn't it? I mean, it's all. I mean, you never know. You might be a superhero, a character one day.
Yeah, you know what, man? Who knows? Who
Is it
knows,
something
man?
you
Who
would
knows
do?
what
Do you
he
think,
holds?
like, would you adjust yourself to it again if the role got offered? Or
Yeah, and again, I would see it as a challenge. I like honestly, it's part of what makes the acting so enticing. It's just like, okay, how can I make this character relatable? How can I make this character what's the link between this character and say any other person walking down the street? How can I
mm,
find that common thread? And to let them see that, oh, okay, I recognize this guy or this choice or whatever.
yeah, yeah, no,
So
of
yeah.
course. Going back to the video games though, how long did it
Mhm.
sort of take to record all of the characters' dialogue for Ezekiel and Wayland?
Ezekiel and Weyland. Ooh, you know what? Ezekiel, I
Because I'm
didn't
sure there's
do.
always more that isn't put in, isn't there? I'm sure there's always
Yeah,
more to the
yeah.
lines.
I mean, Ezekiel, I didn't do that many studio hours, and me personally, I work quite quickly. I can get a lot done in say like an hour, 2 hours. Yeah, but I think Ezekiel was maybe something like maybe under 8 hours.
Wow.
That might have been 4 hours. Wayland, there was a lot of stuff to do, and there was a lot of stuff to workshop, so that might have been maybe 20 to 30.
Mm,
I
okay.
reckon. I reckon. Yeah.
There's still a
I'm
lot
just I'm
more.
just going off my head on how many sessions I did. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah, yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's still a lot more they could use the character for then,
Mm,
work-wise in the game. Yeah. Um, so I mean, on a personal level, like between Dead Island and Cyberpunk, which game world would
mm.
you rather live in, for yourself?
Well, I hate zombies, so
Okay, okay.
Cyberpunk
There's a lot of zombie
is an
fans.
easy trade. But I mean, I'd definitely be paranoid in Cyberpunk because like there's just so many people like hacking stuff. I don't know, like I don't know if I could be like half human, half like robot, and
Yeah,
yeah, navigating that would be a bit of a minefield. I'll just need to upgrade to like I don't know Norton 10.0 or something.
yeah,
Just be maxed out to the gills on antivirus software and firewalls. Yeah, so
yeah.
yeah, that'd be my only thing. But yeah, zombies freak me out, man. So I don't know how I'd do.
See, I feel like you would have been more of a zombie world kind of guy for some reason. So it's
You
an
know
interesting
what?
pick.
Yo, they just scare the hell out of me, bro. I don't think I could do it. You
Yeah.
know, it's funny. A lot of people say, "Yeah, you'd do well in that." Like, apocalypse, end of the world stuff. Maybe I would, but like, would I want to be? No.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're almost in. I mean, it's not all robots, but we're almost in the hacking side of life, aren't we? With
Yeah,
Cyberpunk. I mean,
pretty
there's a lot of
much.
that
Yeah,
going on these
yeah.
days.
It's so scary.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
think we?
None of our data is private anymore. So yeah.
No, no, of course. Do you think we can live in that future in like, you know, not now or in
Um,
5 years, but I mean, do you think
who
that kind of
knows?
future could happen?
I think you know what? I think yes and no. Not so much. Like maybe like a good 20 to 40%, maybe.
Yeah,
Because it is a bit crazy.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, life, if you think about it, right? Technology has changed so much, like internet coming and just again what people thought the internet was going to be, and then social media, what people thought like social media was going to be, and now we've got AI. Yeah, like I think to some degree, I think there is going to be some technological advances that kind of change how we live, but I don't think it's going to be. I don't think we're going to see any flying cars basically
yeah, yeah.
anytime soon. I'd be be very surprised.
We'll see
But
where it goes.
yeah, I don't think we'll see any like flying cars or anything. Maybe self-driving cars. I actually went to LA recently and they've got like self-driving cars now on the
Wow.
roads.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
I saw about that. Yeah,
it is
taxis, isn't it?
mind-boggling, bro.
Mm.
I literally lost my mind. And then they've got like self-delivering Deliveroo as well. These little kind of robots that just like go across on the street. It's
Yeah,
it's crazy.
yeah. How do
So
you
it
think it's
kind
all
of
being controlled? How do you think it's all being sort of controlled? Is it behind a computer screen, the self-driving cars, or
well, I hope it's not by some cybernetic Terminator that's gonna like destroy us all. I hope it's not
It's pretty
that. But
crazy.
yeah, I think to some degree it's a mixture of I guess human and AI and stuff like that, and maybe there is some kind of I don't know 3D mapping. I again for me
Mm,
it's all interesting because I don't know how they maintain them or how
mm,
people can I don't know trust that. But yeah,
mm.
you got self-driving
Yeah,
taxis now in LA.
crazy, crazy. Wonder when they
Yeah,
come
they've
here.
got these. They've got like it's so weird to describe them. But like they drive really, really slow, and they've got these things on top of them, and
Mm,
I just don't know what. I don't know what it does. I need to talk to someone in tech.
yeah,
But
Elon Musk is
yeah,
driving them.
yeah.
Yeah, who
But it's
knows?
interesting. It is.
Mm,
It is interesting and fascinating to see. Like it
yeah.
is. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Do you think the news ever like blows it out of proportion with all this AI stuff and all the strikes happening? Do you think it's all blown out of proportion, or do you think there's things we should be worried about?
You know what? I think, look, when it comes to technology, I'm really kind of in the middle of the road with it all. Look, when it comes to new technology, right, there's always going to be nature versus nurture kind of battle thing going on. There's always going to be like, is this right or is this wrong? But at the end of the day, whether it's AI, whether it's the internet, or whether it's a hammer, you know, the one thing these three things all have in common is that they're tools. And in the hands of someone who's good, they're gonna do good things. In the hands of someone bad, they're gonna do inhumane things. Um, it's really more the people who have access to this technology rather than the technology itself. That's kind of my overview.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, of course, is there, with anything new, there should be some precautions. There should be some kind of safeguard or caution because you just don't know what you're exposing yourself to.
mm,
Um, but yeah, that's my take on the whole
yeah,
thing. I
it's a good
mean,
future.
some of it blown out of proportion, probably. I mean,
Yeah.
and if like if it was all kind of just boring stuff, you wouldn't really read the news anyway. So I
No.
think
Yeah.
sometimes they do the clickbait stuff. I think they do stuff like that
Yeah.
sometimes. But also I do think there are some things that you should be genuinely concerned about.
Mm.
So yeah, that's kind of how my mind works. That's kind of how I see it.
What do you think we're concerned about next? What do you think's going on that we're sort of gonna be afraid? Just out of curiosity, afraid of? It's like because
Curiosity.
there's so many things happening, isn't there?
Just generally in the world or with AI.
Anything like anything, yeah.
Everything.
Because there's
Well,
always something. And actors are always one step ahead. It seems to be. So
yeah. To be honest, man, I think it's gonna be like maybe not World War Three. I don't want to scare people, but like I think that there is going to be like yeah, there is gonna be an issue of yeah, there's going to be some kind of skirmish soon. Um,
Mm.
there's a lot of things going on with the borders. I think the next big war is going to be with the USA and the cartels.
Okay.
Tier one operators operating in the cartels. That's going to be that's honestly for me. I think that's going to be the next big thing.
What makes you?
That border, what's
Yeah.
going on with the border, the terrorism there, like that's going to be the next hotbed.
Wow.
If
Yeah.
I'm a gambling man, because the cartels are getting too big, but it's like it's like a conglomerate now, and who's going to win, how
Mm.
they're going to do it.
Mm.
Are the cartels going to start making advancements and steps into the US using that border, or are the US going to go into Mexico and start dismantling the cartels? I mean, you've seen it already in shows like Lioness, and even in video games, really, when you think about it, right?
Mm.
If you look at, what's it, Ghost Recon, right?
Mm.
That original one. The DEA agent gets killed, and then, before they were just drug traffickers, but then they become terrorists. So it's like what who the chicken or the egg kind of situation I think is happening over there. Like who's
Yeah.
gonna bite first, and what's gonna. But yeah, something in that region, something on that border.
It's crazy because a
But that's
lot of
just me.
yeah. No,
I could be wrong.
I mean, you're clearly up to date with the news and know what you're watching. I mean, and it's true what you say of the video games. It's all in the video games, isn't it? It's all
Yeah.
like more than you realize, more than anyone
Mm,
realizes, is in the video games.
yeah. But yeah, to be honest, no one really used to pay attention to cartels as well because I think they just kind of operate within their thing, but with like the influence and the powers that they get, um, the way that they're moving, it was actually interesting to see how they are dealing with the DEA. Yeah, they've got it's more than just like Pablo Escobar like swearing in his mansion. I mean, these guys are really organized and they've been trained. They're quite really formidable and organized.
Mm,
And you think about it, it's like, well, you could get a bunch of tier one operatives and set them into um, Mexico and get them to destabilize the governments, nothing they haven't done before. But
mm,
in Mexico, it's kind of their land, and they have a lot of advancements, and it's not something that you can do. It's a very very complicated um, operation.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
Wow. There's a
they
lot to
got a lot
say.
of eyes. It's
Yeah.
not. It's. I think a lot of people looking at it would just be like, oh, well, they're just cartels. It's like, well, no, they've got a lot of power and influence. They've got a lot of people in government, and they've got a lot of people in high places as well. So
Hmm.
it's yeah.
We're being
But
watched.
yeah, I think something along that border. If I was a gambling man, I'd look towards that border really.
Yeah.
That would be my concern, but it's not because I'm not in Congress. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah. On that front, going back to video games.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy. I like how you elaborated on that because, like I say, there's a lot happening and it needs to be discussed, really.
Mm.
But a question on video games. Where am I? I'm going to go back to it. Um, oh yeah, that's it. If Ezekiel and Weyland met, do you think they would get along in the same
Oh,
world, or would they be
yeah.
rivals?
They'd be all right. I think they'd be cool. Maybe they'd have like I think of an alpha off, but then after 5 minutes they'd be like best buddies drinking in a pub or something.
Yeah.
I think they'd smooth that over.
Yeah.
I think they'd smooth that over. Yeah.
Mm. Do you think Ezekiel could have had more weapon choices as a trader in Dead Island?
Yeah, man. You know what? I mean, yeah, definitely for sure. It would have been cool to see him kind of handle more like I guess like customized stuff as well.
Hmm.
But yeah, it would have been dope. That would have been great.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
definitely. Do you play any of the games yourself? Are you much of a video gamer, or
I
is it just
always
work?
do. Honestly, like I'm not like the biggest avid gamer, but I do play video games and I almost certainly play the video games that I'm in. For
Mm,
me, it's kind of like if I was in a TV show, I would like to kind of watch how it's done. And then when I play other video games, especially video games that have like a cinematic aspect, it's also good for me to kind of watch it just as a viewer to kind of see what I think works, what I think needs some work, and just like choices that I would do. So like for me, it kind of gets my creativity going, but also I kind of like to know what I've done so I can critique it to kind of know what I need to do better on the next one.
mm, yeah,
So yeah, I don't the games that I'm in that I play, I don't actually typically no, it takes me like maybe the third playthrough for me to enjoy it because I
yeah,
kind of like sit back. The first time I'm kind of like I'm not really I'm not really like playing it. I've got like my workers hat on. I'm trying to figure out
yeah,
what I liked, what worked, what was kind of interesting. And
mm,
then the second time I kind of come back to it and I'm just like, okay, cool. Seeing how I feel about it. And then the third time I kind of maybe
yeah.
start to enjoy it a bit. But yeah.
And these days, I mean, most games are quite good, but it's also quite hard to sort of get yourself into video gaming these days. I think it
Mm.
might be just an age thing, really.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. Um, how do you feel about hearing your own voice in video games when you're playing it, though? I mean, on a more personal level.
You know what? I it's not that bad actually because I hardly sound like how I normally sound. Whenever I'm most of the voiceovers I do, I think 80% of voiceovers I get, I'm either playing American or like as someone else, but it's never actually like my own accent. So
Mm,
it'll always be a character that is quite like far removed from how I normally sound. So in a way it is a bit weird because it's like, oh okay, that is me, but it's not. And
mm,
so I don't really get that kind of shock where someone's like, oh, that's like my voice. And then also it's because it's not like my face or anything like that.
yeah,
Um, that's also kind of it's like, okay, it's not really me, you
yeah.
know.
No, of
So
course.
yeah.
Um,
I don't get that initial shock, but I do understand why certain people would or do get that initial shock because it's like oh like that's how I look like we all have a kind of distorted view of how we look and how we
yeah, yeah.
sound.
As
When
soon
you
as it
actually
gets
see
out
yourself
there.
you're like oh okay that's that's what I've got going on. Cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So yeah, no, it's yeah, with the video game stuff, it yeah, I hardly sound like myself. Hardly hired to
yeah.
sound like myself.
What's your favorite type of sort of accent that you like putting on, usually?
Ooh. Um like I get American a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So American is probably American. Yeah,
Mm,
but I get that I get that a lot. That comes through almost all the time.
cool.
But yeah, no, it's always fun. I get different like regions as well.
Mm.
But yeah, it'll be something in that demographic.
What would you sort of like to see yourself in video game wise or TV shows next? What projects
Oh,
are you
TV show.
hoping for?
Well, we'll do video games first. But video games, I have always wanted to do Call of Duty.
Yeah.
That for me, I would love. Ah,
Yeah.
that'd be something. Call of Duty would be cool. But to be honest, like even if I did like I would like to do something maybe medieval, like,
Yeah.
maybe some night stuff and maybe play an archer or something. I would love to do that because I've not done anything in that kind of sphere.
Mm.
But I really do enjoy, yeah, I would like, yeah, Call of Duty would be
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, you clearly go to the
uh,
gym for it, so I mean, it would look good on
Yeah,
camera.
exactly.
Yeah.
No, yeah, Call of Duty would be great, but
Yeah.
like and yeah, I think anyone that does that, like all the actors that I've kind of seen do that, they've just said, yeah, it's amazing.
Mm.
So yeah, that would be one I would love to do. But yeah, like a medieval game, yeah, that'd be cool. I do a little bit of archery as well, so that'd
Mm.
be nice.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, yeah, those two. those two
Amazing.
kind of genres.
Yeah, yeah. No, it sounds cool. I mean, is there anything else you would like to say at all, to your fans? I mean, to the listeners?
Uh,
Um,
oh man, thank you for playing, man. I'm glad you guys enjoy it. And yeah, man, I'm looking forward to doing more video games and entertaining more of you. It's a pleasure to be able to kind of do a job like this and to kind of see everybody, to everyone who watches the video games, plays the video games, and to everyone who kind of like follows the characters and everything. Yeah, man. Just a huge thank you. I really appreciate it. It's always humbling to kind of see just how it's received. How well it's received, and
mm,
yeah, it is one of those things that surprises me every time where people are just like, oh, Weyland Ezekiel. It does surprise me, and
yeah.
yeah, it's great. It's great to be on the receiving end of that kind of love and admiration.
Wow, wow. And I might have to send the clip to Call of Duty as well to try and get them to get you in the game. We need to vote for you to go in.
Yo, I'd love that, man.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
You never
it's
know.
such a cool franchise, man, and I think the story's great. I've followed the story. Yeah, I love it.
Mm.
It's a great game. It's a great series.
Can we expect to see you in any other video games? Maybe GTA 6?
Man, GTA. It's another one actually. I would love to do GTA 6 would be dope. There are some video games that I'm doing. Basically, man, there is one video game that I am doing. I am set to film or shoot another video game. But yeah, I've signed a couple of NDAs, so I can't really say anything.
Yeah,
But
always
yeah,
the way.
no, it is gonna be. It's what I can say. It is in the medieval kind of Japanese
Okay,
realm. That's as much as I can say.
wow.
But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to recording and shooting with those guys. Like it's yeah, they've got some really good ideas, and it's a great studio. And yeah, I'm looking forward to working with
Wow.
them.
Can't wait to see more of your work. It's going to be great
Ah,
to
thank
see
you,
your
man.
projects. Yeah. Mark, thank you so much for coming on again. It's been amazing chatting.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you very much, man. And the growth from your page and what you've been doing, man, it's also been noted, man. It's
Thank
great
you.
to see what you're doing out there.
Appreciate it. Thank you.